Alright guys, so I really didn't work on the ear as that other video, the ear drawing. The first ear drawing was downloading and getting onto YouTube, but I thought I'm going to go into this next drawing and set these up and take them so far in 8 minutes and then come back and revisit them. Alright, so I'm going to work on eyes here, and that's my primary concern in here is eyes. And I am really hoping I can get in here comfortably to do this. Alright, so I'm going to go with willow, and what I did was I grabbed some different types of willow. I'm just going to leave it at willow, right? And what I'm going to do in here is I'm going to try to get the sense of the slope in here, right in here. Okay, let's move that out of the way. Right in here. That's where I'm going to start. I'm going to start with that slope in here. So I'm going to go in here and bring it down, and I know it turns over, and I'm going to go in there a little bit at a time, right? Just a little bit at a time, and I'm not thinking about getting it all at once. And I can do things like that to help that volume, that shadow in there, because I see that eye, and as I'm drawing, maybe if I make that mark, I go like, let's make that eye in there, the pupil or whatnot, okay? So I'm trying to get that shape. Now, I have to pay attention to how it comes out from behind the lid and around. Right, so I'm just going to drop it in there like that. Try to tighten that up. Oh my God, try to tighten this up some. Right, in there, in there. Oh. Get rid of some of these dirt marks, which I don't like because I was just out in my garden. Work on that a little bit. Now I see the eyelid, the lower eyelid comes out down in here, right? And it's got such an ever slight curve, and it goes out in there. Now I can judge from the outer of the white to in there how big that shape wants to be, and it seems like it wants to be in there, right? So I'm going to go there. There's the top eyelid, right there. All right, so there we go. We're just setting up the space, and now I can go like, okay, I see an eye happening, right? So I can go in here. That was my original slope in there, but it needed to be amended, right? Now I know that this in here is going to be tighter. So let's do this. Sharper, I mean. Let's just get in there and work that. All right. So there's my bottom eyelid, there's the outer eyelid, and what happens is this, I know this comes around like that, right? And there's some mass down in here, some value down in here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to drop in a line right here that says that's where the lower eyelid like balls up, right? And it comes in there and out. Now her nose, she's got those freckles, right? But I'm just going to bring this nose down a little bit, right? In here. And I'm going to go in there and there. Right? She has a little bit of a bump in her nose. I don't know if you can see that. It's there. And then I'm trying to judge the length in here, right? So I feel good about all this in here. This has got some work as that eyelid is, the top one's going to wrap around the eyeball as that one does. I've got some little value stuff happening here, which I can drop in from her freckles, right? I'm just going to barely touch the paper, barely, right? I'm not going to put them all in. I'm just going to think about where the darker ones are and where the lighter ones are. And maybe if I get that shape right, the shape of the freckles, then I get the length of the nose right. So I'm just not depending upon that to capture a sense of relationships, right? There. And then the nose starts to turn over in here, right? And it drops down in here like that. Now, how much do I want to put in there? I want to put enough in to say, there's some of those freckles there. There's the tip of the nose catching a reflection. And if I think that's too heavy, I can go back in and lighten it up, right? And I also can do things like this again. Go in here and soften that edge there and in there, right? So there we go. All right, so we got the eye, the nose, and when I look at it, I go like, maybe that nose wants to be longer because I'm judging it on how tall this is, how many of those would get down to here, and it might be, looks like 4, and I got maybe 2.5, so maybe this nose comes way down into here more so, right, and then flips over in here. Now 1, 2, 3, that feels closer. Do you see that? Right, up, whoops, let's go here. There we go. Now do you see what I was talking about? All right. So I'm just trying to judge the relationships from the length of the nose to a point somewhere down in here, and I'm bouncing it off the eye, the pupils, not the pupil, the iris and all, the dark area of the eye, and how many shapes in there. And it looks like one, if I go down to about that point, it looks like maybe 3 and some. So 1 there, 2, 3 in here, maybe in here is where that nose starts to turn over. All right, so I just used 2 different ways to measure this, right? 3 different ways. I'm thinking about trying to get a sense of the line, how far it is, right? That's number 1. I'm thinking about the shape of the freckles that I see in there, and those helping me, right? I'm thinking about the bouncing it off another measurement that I can do, which is the height of the dark of the eye and how far down to there. All right, so we're there with it. Now I'm going to go up in here and let's do this. Let's bring this guy. That guy's way up in there, isn't it? And it comes down like that. All right, so now we're going to go over in here, and I see this eyebrow in here, and it comes out, the top eyebrow, and it gets soft in here, and there's some, right in here you can get a sense that the bone starts to project out of the side of the head somewhere in here, right, and up in there. And this is all in such soft shadows, so we're just going to leave that like that. Right there, we'll go in here. Right, we'll do this a little bit of shadows in here. We'll put this line in here to say there's where the eyebrow bone is. We'll drop these in here. We're going to go in here, and this beautiful movement in here from here down into, well, it's actually way out in here. Here, down into there. Oh, excuse me, and then out the side here. And so I'm going to go out in here and work all this. Right? Now, here's another thing that can help me if I'm on with my shape. Where this is and where that is. And look at what happens in here with that shape, right? That goes in there. Now, look at that shape right in there. Right? You see it? So, which means I'm too flat in here. Too straight up and down. Because if I go, okay, if I feel like this is good in here, right? And we'll just continue this down a little bit, but I think I'm too much in there. In there. All right, in there. Let's get this in there. Right? Then we can go like, okay, here's the nose, comes down, projects out, right? And